In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything I did to get started learning the Rust programming language. I'll make some analogies for TypeScript developers, but really, if you're a developer of any kind already, then you should have no trouble following along here. Of course, we're going to start with installing the Rust language itself. And beyond just the compiler itself, Rust comes with a slew of tools to make your job of learning the language much easier. I'm here at rust-lang.org. And of course, we're going to start with this install button up at the top. So the recommended way to install Rust is using Rust Up, which is a toolchain installer. It's kind of like NVM, the node version manager. Rust Up allows you to manage multiple versions of Rust and the tools associated with each version. I'm just going to copy this line of code right here. As you can see, this is going to curl a shell script and then pipe it to a shell so that we can actually run it. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that into my terminal. You can see that this is going to download and install the official compiler for Rust, as well as its package manager, Cargo. So we've got Rust Up, which is like NVM. Then we've got Cargo, which is kind of the equivalent of NPM or Yarn with a bunch of build tooling built in on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit 1 to proceed with the default installation, and I'll hit enter. When that's done, you'll be able to see that Rust is now installed. And if we run which rustc is the compiler, we can see it's there in our .cargo directory in our home directory. Speaking of Cargo, we can see that we also have a Cargo binary that we can use. Now, like I said, Cargo is our package manager, but it also is kind of like a project manager of sorts as well. So we can use Cargo to create our very first Rust project. So I'm going to do Cargo new, and we'll call this first Rust project. We have created this project, so I'm going to cd into the directory that has just been created for us. And let's take a look at what we've got. We've got a couple of things that Rust has created. First of all, Cargo creates a Git repository for us so that we already have Git in place. If we take a look at that .gitignore file, you can see that it's going to ignore the target directory. And of course, Rust is a compiled language and it will compile into the target directory by default. Notice we also have something called cargo.toml, T-O-M-L. Toml is a markup language like JSON or YAML, and this is the equivalent of a package.json file. You can see we've got our name and version and edition for this package. If we needed to add dependencies, they would be underneath this dependencies header right here. We won't get into dependencies in this video, but they are fairly straightforward to add with the cargo add command. As you can see, if I do cargo add help, there's a whole lot of flags that we have, and this is all about adding dependencies to our cargo.toml manifest file. What else do we have? Besides our Git stuff and our cargo.toml, we have a source directory, and inside that source directory initially is just a main.rs file. This is our very first Rust file. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in my editor of choice. This brings us to the topic of editor tooling for Rust. And I think Rust is kind of a special language, at least in the ones that I've used. And that's because the tooling is really, really good. Actually, what it is the Rust compiler is really good at giving suggestions and explaining what the errors are. And then the tooling just pulls that into your editor. No matter what editor you're using, there are two tools that you want to look for. The first one is Rust Analyzer. Rust Analyzer is essentially the language server protocol implementation for Rust, and it's the tool that pulls all of the compiler errors and warnings and suggestions into your editor. Now, more recently, though, I've come across a second tool, and that is Clippy. Clippy is an incredibly powerful set of essentially opinionated Rust linting rules. I'm guessing this is named Clippy after Microsoft Clippy because it does a lot of recommendations for Rust best practices and conventions, and not just basic style linting. So whatever editor you're using, you want to look for Rust Analyzer and you want to look for Clippy, and you should be able to have both of those running. Now, if you want to do a quick test to see whether Rust Analyzer and Clippy are working properly in your editor, we can make some small changes to this hello world that we generated. For example, maybe instead of hello world, we want to put a name in here. And so we're going to go ahead and create a variable here. We go ahead and put our placeholder in the print line here. Now, the correct way to do this then would be to add name as our second argument here. However, notice that now we have Clippy giving us an error. Clippy suggests that variables can be used directly in the format string. What it's saying is instead of putting this as a second argument, we could actually put it in line like that. And if I save that, now we don't have any editor warnings. Now, actually, another thing that we could do here though is not include that variable at all. And this time you can see that the error is coming from rustc, which is the Rust compiler, and that would be via Rust Analyzer. And so we either have to include name here, or we could put it in line in this string as Clippy suggested. Often the Rust compiler or Clippy will be able to do code actions for you. And again, depending on the editor you're using, those code actions will show up in different ways. For me, when I'm hovering on this line in LunarVim, I'm going to press like space LA, which isn't particularly useful for you to know maybe, but as you can see down at the bottom here, now I see some code actions. And if I hit 1 and hit enter, then it will run that code action for me and inline my variable name just like that. The other thing we could do with Clippy is if I get rid of the name variable entirely and instead I put a literal string at the end here, then Clippy will point out that this is a literal with an empty format string, and maybe this isn't the smartest way to do this, and my code action instead will be try this, Andrew inline. So if we do 2, you can see it just inlines it directly, and it knows that this isn't a variable, and it can actually use that raw value. Now, if for some reason you're using an editor that does not support these things, you can get these via the compiler on the command line as well. So for example, if we go back to our compiler error, if I do cargo build, and still in this project directory, you can see that we get the same error printed out here. And now if we go name, and let's put this name back here, there we go. I'm going to ignore Clippy there. If we do cargo build, that should build successfully. We can even do cargo run, which will do both the build and then the run. And finally, from the command line, we can also do cargo Clippy, and it will make the same suggestions here. And so it recognizes that maybe instead of putting the name outside, we can put that name inside the string. Now, again, this is kind of a conventional thing, right? And that's a little bit more about what Clippy is all about. It gives you Rust best practices or conventions that maybe you can choose to adopt or not. And I haven't gotten into it yet, but there's got to be a way that you can configure that, not unlike an ESLint.rc file or a tsconfig file. Well, now that we have an environment ready to write and run Rust code, it's time to actually start learning the language. And Rust provides several great resources for this. If we come back to the Rust website here and we hit learn, there are 3 great resources that you should check out. First of all is the book. The book is called The Rust Programming Language, and it walks you through all the core concepts of the language from first principles. It's pretty typical technical reading, but it gives you everything you need to know about how to write the language. If you're coming from a language like maybe C++, this is probably a great way to quickly understand some of the differences and start writing code. And this is pretty great, but if you're coming from TypeScript like I was, some of these other resources may be something to hit up first. So 2 things. First of all, there's Rust by example here, which is again essentially a book of examples, but this time there's a lot more code involved, and you can actually look at some of the exercises as you're going. Maybe we want to go into common types and then actually look at structures here, and we can see a bunch of different structures here. We're just basically looking at how the code can work, and then we have some activities at the end that you can actually try to make sure you understand some of these concepts. Now, if you want something even more interactive, check out Rustlings. Rustlings is a pretty cool exercise that runs in your terminal and teaches you the Rust syntax as you go. So to get started with this, I'm going to grab this URL right here, and this is just the install URL. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. But after that installs, we can run Rustlings. I'm going to cd into the Rustlings directory, and then I'm going to run it again. And as you can see, we have some instructions on exactly what we're supposed to do here. Rustlings, as it says, was made for beginners, and so you can take a read through this. And in some ways, this is almost like a text adventure where you can work through these problems one by one and learn the Rust syntax and some of the ways that the language operates. Finally, if you're ready for something a little bit beyond the basics of learning the language, you must check out the documentation for the Rust standard library. The Rust Analyzer plugin that you have in your editor now will pull a lot of the standard library documentation into your editor so you can see it in context as you go. But often it's useful to head over here and browse this directly. Rust is an incredibly well-documented language, with every single piece of it having at least some generated documentation, and much of it also having some good examples. So for example, we could look at the option enum here, and then maybe if I click on the and then method, which I was recently using, we can see a description, and then we can also see some examples of how this is used. And also very cool is you can click on source right here, and it will show you where the implementation for that part of the library is. And so if you're interested in looking at the Rust internals, you can actually do that very, very easily. So that's what you need to do to get set up to start learning Rust. Now, apart from these official Rust resources, there are a lot of other great places to learn Rust. There's books, there's blogs, lots of videos here on YouTube, of course. I'll include some links to some of my favorite YouTubers who do some good Rust content. And if you have places on the internet that you've learned Rust from, definitely include those in comments down below as well. I would love to see this video become a great place for beginners to find lots of great links to Rust resources. So as I come across stuff myself, I'll probably update this description over time. Well, that is everything I have for you on how to learn the Rust programming language. I'm hoping to do a lot of cool stuff with Rust this year, and so if you're interested in following that journey, I would love it if you could like and subscribe. If there are specific parts of Rust that you're interested in hearing about, let me know about that in the comments as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.